There is a lot of going on in today's scripture. The Magi going to Bethlehem, and then going to Herod, and then going from Bethlehem, from Herod, hurrying home another way. There is Mary and Joseph having gone to Bethlehem, and then having to go to Egypt, and then going home, and then going to Galilee. Now, you would think that after all this Christmas celebration, we'd just get to hang home for a little while and enjoy this new birth. But no. Instead, we have to just start rushing around with this scripture. The rushing, we must note, is a particular response to the forces that would destroy life. In the infant Jesus biblical narratives, Herod plays the part of a life-destroying force. Herod was, by all historical reports, quite the cruel king. And while there is no evidence that the slaughter of the innocents actually happened during Jesus' infancy, it is no surprise that a skillful storyteller would have conflated something that happened to the venerated Moses in order to give credence to Jewish followers of Jesus, that Jesus was to be taken seriously. When we tell the story of Christmas, we usually conflate bits from the two gospel accounts, Matthew and Luke. Mark does not have an infant story, to create this birth narrative that we all recognize in its broad sweep. And then we spice it up a little with the very liturgical words from John's gospel, you know, that in the beginning there was the Word kind of approach. Yes, many facts are unverifiable or contradictory. Still, the biblical sweep of the story supplies this truth in spades. God is doing something new. The old relationship based on law was not serving well, and God longs to get closer to us. This narrative, then, is 2,000 years old, but as fresh as Jesus' birth. The good that God is up to will always bloom alongside some weeds, some killing weeds, at least here on earth. And those of us who would be shepherds, following angels, Marys, Magi, Josephs, we need to remember that we cannot stay warm and sentimental about love being born. We too will have a vigilant, active, and bold role to play to carry that newborn love incarnate into its full maturity in the world. Jesus born anew in innocence is a renewal of our call to be present in ways that are bold and holy. And yes, we may want to rest in the sweetness of that holy love incarnate. It is sweet. We may want to breathe in the composting hay and the yeasty smells of birth and the brittle edges of the starry night. Go ahead, breathe it in deeply. Yet, that holy love becomes quite adult, forthright, irksome, speaking truth to power, overturning, desacralizing tables, demanding more discernment and less judgmentalism, deauthorizing abusive or self-serving authority, being religiously untraditional and politically unstabilizing. And we too must take the journey from the baby's sweet coos to the dangerous and unsettling journeys, movement from the quiet edges to the teeming center, speaking bold words and living love with our sweat and sinews, our muscles and our minds. Today's part of the story, then, with all its going on, is to steel us for this work ahead, Jesus' birth does not mark the end of evil powers on this earth. Rather, Jesus' birth calls us to the work of standing against those powers, of pushing them back, of our resolve to do good, to demonstrate kindness and decency in the face of all that would dehumanize or destroy. And so it is that we rightly pause to mark this dear, sweet season. And then soon we will be called forth. So let us carefully wrap up our creches and our ornaments sometime in the next week or so, and then be the people heading out on the journey of love. And that journey of love will lead us once again over the world, over mountains of injustice and through valleys of despair. Only this time we can be truly bold and brave in the face of evil. This time we can be angel messengers of hope and joy and new life, for God is with us. Yes, I believe there are angels among us. I believe we can be angels, messengers flying in the face of fear, saying no to the destruction of life and offering well-being and more life and more love to all.